Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. When it comes to relationships, a man can talk all day long, but his actions, they gonna tell on him every single time. You don't need to be a detective. You don't need to hire nobody, and you don't need to break your back trying to put clues together like it's some crime scene. A man that's hiding another woman will start revealing the truth without even meaning to, because inconsistency is loud. It always slips out somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something from a man who has lived long enough, loved enough, messed up enough, and learned enough to tell the truth. Plain and simple, a man's behavior will reveal what his mouth is trying to hide every single time. You can rehearse lines, you can memorize excuses, you can dress up lies in the prettiest little outfit, but behavior don't lie. It can't, because a man's actions are a reflection of what's really going on inside him. And when a man is hiding another woman, his behavior starts cracking, slipping, shifting in ways he thinks you won't notice, but you will. See, men like to think women don't pay attention. They think you only listen to what they say. But what they don't understand is that a woman listens with her soul. You pick up on tone, consistency, energy, and shifts that he hasn't even realized he's making. Words can be controlled. Actions slip out. This is why the first sign of a man hiding somebody else isn't a message you find or a picture you see. It's him acting different before he even understands why he's acting different. It's the distance he creates when he swears he's just tired. It's the defensive attitude he gets when you ask a simple question. It's the sudden irritation about things that never bothered him before. A man who's fully invested in you behaves like he's invested. A man who's splitting his attention behaves like he's distracted, because he is. Now let me break down something important. When a man is loyal, he is predictable. Not boring, predictable. You know his rhythms. You know how he moves. You know his habits, his patterns, the small things he does that show he's thinking about you even when you're not around. But when another woman enters the picture, that smooth rhythm gets interrupted. Suddenly there's a stutter in his flow. He cancels plans he used to be excited for. He forgets the little details he once remembered so easily. He becomes too busy, even though he used to make time without you ever asking. Women feel this shift long before the proof ever shows up. And here's the truth, a man can only juggle so much before the ball drops. You cannot maintain two emotional connections without one of them suffering. So he starts overcompensating on one end and withdrawing on the other. He'll be extra sweet one moment, distant the next. He'll give you a small burst of affection just to pull away again. That push and pull behavior, that's not confusion. That's guilt. That's a man trying to balance something that shouldn't be on the scale in the first place. Men often think they're slick with their explanations. I'm tired. I've just been stressed. Work is crazy right now. And listen, those things do happen. But when a man who used to communicate suddenly becomes vague, when a man who used to call you now only texts you, when a man who used to be present is suddenly distracted every time he's in the room, those aren't signs of exhaustion. Those are signs of divided loyalty. The little things tell the biggest story. He used to touch you with intention. Now the affection feels like a chore. He used to ask about your day. Now he barely hears your answer. He used to involve you in his world. Now his world has new parts he won't let you see. A man can pretend everything is fine, but his eyes will look different. His energy will feel different. His presence will weigh different. Men don't understand how loud silence becomes when their actions stop matching their words. Let me tell you something, as a man, when we start hiding something, our behavior becomes defensive. You'll ask a simple question like, "What took you so long?" And suddenly he's annoyed, irritated, acting like you're accusing him of a crime. That reaction has nothing to do with your question. It has everything to do with his conscience. A faithful man answers calmly. A guilty man answers loudly. That's behavior telling on him before he ever says a word. Another thing, ladies, watch how consistent he is with his explanations. A lying man can give a story once, maybe twice, but keep asking the same question on different days and that story gon' change. First he was with a friend, then next time he was at work, and another time he fell asleep. Stories change when lies are involved. Behavior changes when feelings change. A man who is hiding someone operates in inconsistencies he can't control. Let's talk about intuition, because behavior feeds your intuition long before a lie ever reaches your ears. When a man's behavior shifts, a woman doesn't need evidence, she feels it. That feeling is not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. Your heart has been tracking his consistency for months, maybe years. So when something flips, you know it. You may not want to believe it, but you know it, because his behavior is out of alignment with the man you knew. And ladies, here's the part that stings a little, but it's the truth. When a man is hiding another woman, he becomes less available to you because he's trying to become more available somewhere else. It doesn't always start physically. Sometimes it starts emotionally, mentally, or even with curiosity. But the behavior always comes first. Before the cheating, before the lying, before the confrontation, the behavior shifts. He becomes someone you don't recognize, and that is the biggest sign of all. Men reveal themselves through patterns. When those patterns break, something is breaking inside the relationship. So don't ignore the way he moves. Don't ignore the energy he gives. Don't ignore the gaps between his words and his actions. A man's behavior will show you the truth long before he ever admits anything out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real clear. When a man changes, he doesn't start with a grand announcement. He doesn't walk in the house holding a sign saying, "Hey, baby, I'm acting different now." No. Men change quietly. They change in their patterns. They change in the little rituals they used to do without thinking. Consistency is the heartbeat of a relationship. And the moment that rhythm changes, something deeper has shifted. You don't need a confession. You don't need screenshots. You don't need to spy. All you need to do is pay attention to the way a man stops being predictable in the ways he once was. That sudden shift in consistency, oh, that's the alarm bell. That's the truth speaking long before he does. See, when a man cares about you, he shows it the same way every single day. It's not the grand gestures that matter. It's the routine ones. The good morning texts, the check-ins, the way he remembers the little things you say. The comfort you feel in knowing he'll do what he always does. Men are creatures of habit. When he loves you, his habits point towards you. When someone else enters the picture, his habits start pulling away without him even noticing the drift. That shift in consistency is not random. It is not accidental. It is intentional energy moving in a new direction. A man who used to call you at lunch now forgets. A man who used to respond in minutes now takes hours. A man who always came home at a certain time now has extra errands, late meetings, or unexpected plans. You ask what changed, and he'll tell you nothing changed. But ladies, consistency doesn't disappear for no reason. A man only becomes inconsistent when he is rearranging his priorities or protecting his secrets. And let me tell you this, a man who is hiding another woman won't start by being distant. He starts by being inconsistent. One day he's sweet, the next day he's cold. One day he's attentive, the next he's distracted. One day he wants to spend time, the next he's too tired. That inconsistency is the tug of war between what he's doing and what he knows he shouldn't be doing. It's him trying to show up for you and somebody else at the same time. And baby, nobody can keep that balance steady for long. When a man is consistent, you don't question his intentions, you feel secure. But when that consistency breaks, you start feeling the confusion, the uncertainty, the emotional imbalance. And let me tell you something, that's not your imagination. That's not insecurity. That's your intuition responding to a pattern your heart already recognized. Women don't get uneasy for no reason. Something inside you picks up the rhythm shift long before your mind catches up. That's why you start noticing things like him texting less, touching less, listening less. Not because he's busy, but because his consistency is being divided. Consistency is a man's love language. It's the proof behind the promises. It's the evidence behind the effort. When a man stops being consistent, it's because the effort is going somewhere else. Even the smallest changes in his behavior come from a larger change inside him. You may not see the full truth yet, but the cracks are already showing. Think about it like this. If a man always puts his phone face up and suddenly flips it face down, that's a shift in consistency. If he always invited you places and now he doesn't bring you around anymore, that's a shift in consistency. If he used to laugh with you easily and now he gets irritated over small things, That's a shift in consistency. These shifts don't happen because he's overwhelmed or bored. They happen because he's trying to manage two different emotional realities. A man's consistency fades when his attention is divided. And here's what people don't talk about enough. Inconsistency is more painful than outright distance. When a man pulls away completely, you know something is wrong. But when he goes back and forth, when he gives you love today and confusion tomorrow, it messes with your sense of stability. That inconsistency keeps you wondering, guessing, questioning yourself. You start doubting your own clarity because one moment he feels like the man you know and the next moment he feels like a stranger. But ladies, let me tell you something powerful. Inconsistency is clarity. You don't need him to explain it. You don't need him to justify it. You don't need him to write it down. When a man's behavior stops matching what it used to be, that I S your answer. That I says the explanation. That I's the sign. People don't wake up and randomly start acting different. Every shift has a source. If he doesn't tell you the source, the behavior will. A sudden shift in consistency can be small, like him taking longer to respond, or big, like him spending less time at home. But small or big, the meaning is the same. His energy isn't centered on you anymore. And energy is never lost. It is always redirected. Men who are hiding another woman try to maintain a version of consistency just enough to keep suspicion low, but the cracks always show because emotional cheating always bleeds into behavior. His attention slips. His patience thins. His excitement fades. His routines change. He becomes unpredictable in the areas he used to be stable in. You shouldn't have to guess where you stand with a man. You shouldn't have to convince yourself everything is fine when his actions keep showing you it isn't. And you shouldn't have to chase clarity from a man who used to give it freely. A sudden shift in consistency is the loudest silent confession a man will ever make. Before the truth comes out of his mouth, it shows up in his behavior. All you have to do is stop explaining away what you see and start believing that consistency doesn't break without a reason. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people don't want to say out loud. Cheating doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the heart. Long before a man ever touches another woman, he slowly pulls himself away from the one he already has. Emotional distance is the first red flag, the first crack in the foundation, the first signal that something is drifting off course. A man doesn't just wake up one day and decide to cheat physically. The physical act is the finale. The emotional disconnect is the beginning of the story. And most women feel that emotional shift long before anything visible ever happens, but they doubt themselves because the signs aren't dramatic, they're subtle. But subtle don't mean false. It means quiet truth. See, when a man cares about you deeply, he doesn't just show it. He feels it. He is present, connected, engaged. He listens when you talk. He reacts when you're hurting. He celebrates when you're winning. And that emotional connection is something a woman can feel even without words. You know when he's tuned into you. You know when he's emotionally available. You can feel the difference in the way he holds you, speaks to you, or looks at you. But when another woman starts catching his interest, even if nothing physical has happened yet, that emotional energy starts slipping away from you. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's because he's redirecting a part of himself somewhere else. Emotional cheating is like a silent leak. You don't see the water right away, but the whole foundation is getting weaker and weaker. And by the time something finally breaks, the damage has already been happening for weeks, maybe months. When a man becomes emotionally distant, the first place you'll feel it is in conversation. He used to talk to you with intention. Now his responses feel short, dry, automatic. He used to share his thoughts, his plans, his day, his stresses. Now he gives you the bare minimum. You ask how his day was and he says fine, but you can tell he isn't really talking to you. He's giving you answers, not connection. A man who is pulling away emotionally still communicates, but not with depth, not with warmth, not with care. Then it starts showing physically. Not in cheating, in the absence of closeness. He used to sit near you. Now there's space between you on the couch. He used to kiss you without thinking. Now he does it out of habit. He used to hug you like he missed you. Now it feels like a formality. That change in physical affection isn't about sex, it's about emotion. A man cannot give closeness he no longer feels. His touch becomes shallow because his heart is somewhere else. Another place emotional distance shows up is in patience. He used to be patient with your questions, your moods, your thoughts, your concerns, but now everything frustrates him. He gets irritated over small things. He takes everything as criticism. He puts up walls instead of bridges. That's not because you've changed. It's because he's mentally checking out. And anyone who's mentally checking out will see every conversation as a burden instead of a connection. When a man starts getting emotionally involved with another woman, he becomes protective over his time and attention in ways that look suspicious. Suddenly, he needs more privacy. He needs more me time. He needs more space. He becomes vague about where he's going or who he's with. He stops sharing details because details expose patterns. A man who is emotionally committed to one woman is transparent. A man who's emotionally drifting becomes secretive. One of the biggest signs of emotional distance is when he stops caring about your feelings. He used to check if you were okay. Now he shrugs it off. He used to comfort you. Now he acts like it's an inconvenience. He used to notice when something was bothering you. Now he says you're overreacting. When a man is emotionally invested, he responds to your emotions with empathy. When he's emotionally checked out, your feelings feel irrelevant to him. And here's something painful but real. Before a man cheats physically, he often starts comparing, not out loud, not in arguments, but in his behavior. He starts noticing what another woman gives him emotionally, and he quietly disconnects from what you used to give him. That comparison doesn't need words. It shows up in the way he becomes distant, distracted, and unavailable. He's not gone yet, but he's drifting. And a drifting man is more dangerous than a dishonest one because he doesn't even fully understand what he's becoming yet. Women often sense this emotional shift long before anything physical happens. You feel like he's there, but not with you. You feel like you're talking to him, but not reaching him. You feel like you're trying to connect, but he's giving half of himself. And you question your worth, thinking, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, emotional distance is about him, not you. A man who starts building a bond somewhere else naturally weakens the bond he has at home. Before a man cheats with his body, he cheats with his heart. Before he lies with his mouth, he lies with his silence. Before he sneaks away physically, he slips away emotionally. A woman may not see the physical act, but she feels the emotional shift. And that feeling is not wrong. It's the first truth. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about women that men still haven't learned, no matter how old they get or how smart they think they are. A woman's intuition is not some magical emotion blowing in the wind. It is not guessing. It is not insecurity. It is not paranoia. A woman's intuition is information, real, detailed emotional data that her heart has been collecting quietly long before her mind ever speaks up. See, men think they hide things well. They think if they delete the messages, change the passwords, switch the routines, or explain themselves in the right tone, they're safe. But what they don't understand is that a woman will feel the truth before she ever sees it. Her intuition catches the shift before her eyes catch the proof. A woman's heart is like a radar. She doesn't just see what you do, she feels the energy behind it. She notices the hesitations in your voice, the pauses in your sentences, the way your attention wanders, even when you're sitting right beside her. She picks up on energy changes that you didn't even realize you were giving off. Men underestimate this. They think women are emotional, but what they really are is observant. They see everything. They feel everything. They connect dots you didn't even know you left lying around. When something is off, a woman feels it in her spirit before she can explain it out loud. She can't always point to the evidence yet, but she knows. She knows when your love feels different. She knows when your affection feels forced. She knows when you're holding something back. She knows when you're talking to somebody else. She knows when your heart is drifting. A woman's intuition is the emotional imprint of every moment she has shared with you. And the moment you step out of alignment with who you used to be, she feels the shift. And here's the thing. Women don't need an argument to sense the truth. They don't need conflict. They don't need accusations. They don't even need a reason. They feel the distance, the inconsistency, the secrecy, the subtle change in tone. A woman's intuition is like a silent alarm. When something is wrong, it goes off inside her chest, even if she tries to ignore it, even if she tries to reason with herself, even if she tries to convince herself she's imagining it. The heart knows what the mind isn't ready to process yet. When a man is hiding another woman, his energy betrays him faster than his actions. He becomes distracted. He becomes irritated. He becomes inconsistent. He pulls away emotionally before he pulls away physically. And even if he thinks he's playing it cool, something in the atmosphere changes. A woman can feel when she's no longer the center of his focus. She can feel when she's being replaced emotionally. She can feel the confusion he's trying to hide, because the energy he once gave her freely is being shared somewhere else. And here's what men don't understand. Women don't jump to conclusions. They don't accuse without reason. They don't question because they're insecure. They question because they've already felt the truth. They're not reacting to one moment. They're reacting to a collection of moments. The late replies, the emotional withdrawal, the coldness in the voice, the lack of presence, the sudden distance, the guarded phone, the missing details, the inconsistent stories. Her intuition gathers all of this quietly, patiently, until it becomes impossible to ignore. A woman may not confront you at first. She may watch. She may wait. She may give you space to explain yourself without her asking. Women are patient when they love you, even when they feel something is wrong. But inside, that intuition is building. It is observing. It is listening to what is not being said. It is feeling what is no longer being given. And when she finally asks you a question, trust me, she already knows the answer. She's not asking to learn the truth. She's asking to see if you will tell it. The problem is, when a woman's intuition starts speaking, a lot of men gaslight her. They tell her she's imagining things. They tell her she's overreacting. They tell her she's being dramatic. They try to make her doubt the very thing that has protected her heart for years. But that intuition does not leave. It does not shrink. It does not quiet down. It keeps tugging at her spirit, reminding her that something is not right. And women, let me tell you this clearly. Your intuition is a gift. It is not something to apologize for. It is not something to hide. It is not something to silence. You feel the truth because you know the man you love. You know his rhythms. You know his patterns. You know his voice. You know his energy. So when those things change, believe yourself. You don't need proof to trust your own spirit. Your intuition is the proof. Before a man cheats physically, he cheats emotionally. Before he cheats emotionally, he disconnects mentally. Before he disconnects mentally, his energy shifts. And before his energy shifts, your intuition feels the disturbance. That is not a coincidence. That is not imagination. That is not insecurity. That is your heart recognizing what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. A woman's intuition is not a feeling. It is the first truth. It is the quiet voice that sees the lie before the lie sees itself. It is the warning sign that appears before the heartbreak. And when a man is hiding another woman, intuition is the very first alarm that goes off, whispering to you what he doesn't have the courage to admit.